I can let the tick go, turn up to a when I gang hit the floor, getting the ball with super flow. Made about the city, I installed the flame, set the fire, pressure, that's what we applying. Add some more, make some diamonds, it's the time for everything, man. You can't time come from here to end. You won't find nothing pure like the stamps on the brick. I'm looking white like the pyramids. Niggas up to the judge and the jury. If I ever got a face and do my time, I make a statement. So I'm to the grave, my book, I'll make sure my get ready. Boy, your money, the army better get the bed. I got this body in junkyard. I told you not to play school. Yeah. Yo, I keep looking at I'm looking at I'm thinking the webcam's on top of my computer because I'm so used to that. But the webcam is over there. Well, let me put this down a little bit so there's a better perception of things. How y'all doing today? Listen, I got a special surprise for y'all coming out very soon, okay? I think you guys are gonna be very interested. I'll give you a little hint as to what it is. I want to say congrats to all my fire signs. We lit. So congrats to all my Leos, Sagittariuses, Aries. Congrats to, am I forgetting one? So I think I left somebody out. But it doesn't matter. Congrats to all my fire signs for being amazing, making the world go round, especially my Sagittariuses. Sagittariuses, you make the world go round. We are in the Sagittarius galaxy, and I'm very proud of all of you. Give yourselves a pat on the back just for being Sagittarius. I'm going to be honest. You guys are awesome. And I'm proud to be part of that collective. Um, why I wanted to make another video. Y'all, I wanted to come to you guys and talk to you about, I still got this mask on. I look silly. It's doing this thing though. We're going to leave it on till the light turns off. I wanted to come and discuss with you guys spiritual ley lines. What are spiritual ley lines? How do they work? Why are they important? All right, all right, all right. Because we got to get this channel popping, boo-boo. Is we gonna get it popping. We gotta get it popping. Listen, spiritual ley lines around the earth. Y'all probably watch videos on this if you're spiritual. You know about what spiritual ley lines are. Spiritual ley lines are basically lines around the earth, like a grid line around the earth. So think of longitude, latitude. Think of those lines. But these are magnetic lines. And there we go. These are magnetic lines around the earth. Excuse me, y'all. These are magnetic lines around the earth. Y'all see Curtis? Curtis says hi. These are magnetic lines that go around the earth, and at the intersection of these lines, special things happen. Now, these spiritual light lines can be used for bad, they can be used for good. I'm not going to make this video too long. Maybe I'll make another one that goes more in depth. But the reason I wanted to make this video is because there are certain individuals, certain groups on this planet that have been sent here to raise the vibrations. Namely the Native Americans, okay? Shout out to my Native Americans. If you're watching this video, are you Native American? Listen, the Native Americans, they were sent here to raise the vibrations of the planet. That's why white people had to get rid of them, okay? White folks had to get rid of them. That's why Native Americans can talk to the trees, talk to the wind, talk to all the elements of nature, and they're more in touch with their spiritual side. What's spiritual ley lines? I know. You ever notice how on reservations, Native Americans just happen to have a thing for alcoholic intake, drinking, gambling? The Native Americans have been used as a spiritual battery to harness their energy and basically just stop them from raising the vibrations of the planet. Don't ask me how I know, but I just got to do research. Spiritual ley lines are important at the intersection of these ley lines. So wait, I'm not even gonna, Native Americans, I'm definitely gonna make another video on that because that goes way deep. But basically, white folks had to come here and kill them, right? Because they was just minding their business. They came in peace. Native Americans was like, hey, you want some food? You know, want to be friends? And white folks was like, boo-boo, give me this land, boo-boo. Friend who? We want the land. We are talking about friend. Come on, we don't need no friend. You're bright. I just chop off them head. They used to scalp them Indians. Ain't that crazy? Yo, they do not teach that in school. They used to scout the Indians, literally. What was the Indians used to scout white folks? One of the two. They were scalping somebody was scalping somebody. It got ugly in them times, okay? Um, and the reason spiritual ley lines are so relevant is because the government knows about spiritual ley lines. They know all about spiritual ley lines. That's why, and some of you know exactly what I'm talking about when I say when you live across the railroad tracks, it's like a completely different neighborhood. It's a completely different neighborhood in the sense that the economy is worse, housing is quality is deplorable. I'm not gonna say deplorable, but it goes down. But as soon as you cross the railroad tracks, it just happens to be nice white, nice bright, and two shades from white. And so spiritual ley lines have been used to either force negative energy upon people or force positive energy on people. Spiritual ley lines. What's an example of a spiritual ley line? Hollywood. Hollywood, yeah, Hollywood is a spiritual ley line. That's why celebrities love it there. It's a lot of negative energy in Los Angeles. That's another one. Los Angeles, home of the angels. No, it's home of the demons. It's the home of the demons. I'm just gonna tell you right now. That's a spiritual ley line. Um, spiritual ley line, spiritual ley line. I'm trying to think what else is spiritual ley line. I'm trying to think of other ones. Definitely. Oh, okay. What I was gonna mention was that when these spiritual ley lines intersect around the planet, you can open certain portals. Yeah, portals. Okay, I kid you not. The Bermuda Triangle is one of them. The Bermuda Triangle is a spiritual ley line. And so when you go to the Bermuda Triangle, the reason why so much weird shit happens there is because literally there is a portal in the Bermuda Triangle, a literal light portal that just weird stuff just happens. And that's how we'll say beings, right, are able to efficiently travel around the earth, around, trust me, some weird stuff happens in the Bermuda Triangle. That's why when we were younger, they used to talk all about it, but now it's like, that's another example. I'm trying to think. Jamaica, Jamaica and Haiti. Haiti has a lot of spiritual ley lines. The border between the Dominican Republic and Haiti, that is a spiritual ley line. That's exactly why they put that wall up. As soon as you cross that wall, that spiritual ley line from Dominican Republic into Haiti, notice that the terrain is just not good terrain. And shout out to my Haitians for the Haitian Revolution. Y'all really helped out the Jamaicans. As a Jamaican myself, I don't think y'all get enough credit. Shout out to the Haitians for the Haitian Revolution. They was whooping white folks' ass, baby. Right around the fire. Shout out to the Haitians. They do not get enough credit for freeing black people. They helped out a lot. They was tearing white folks' ass up. Okay. Um, Jamaica's got spiritual ley lines. And in addition to Haiti, that's why no shade to the Haitians, but that's why there's a lot of spirituality that takes place in Haiti. That's why people kind of throw shade on them saying they do voodoo. I'm not Haitian. I'm not going to attest to that and say I know that, I don't know that. But Jamaicans be talking shit. Boy, Jamaicans be talking all types of shit. Talking about, oh, them the Obia, here, son, Obia sitting. Speaking of Obia, New Orleans, that is another spiritual ley line. If you go to New Orleans at certain times of the night, you're going to see certain things that you're not supposed to see. The Appalachian Mountains, that's a spiritual ley line. That place is very spiritual. If you go to the Appalachian Mountains at certain times of the day and night, that night, you're gonna see certain things. We'll just say it's haunted. Gettysburg, that's a spiritual ley line. It's haunted. It's another spiritual ley line. I'm sorry, I'm trying to think. It's another spiritual ley line. I'm trying to give it to y'all, but New Orleans is a very spiritual place. A lot of witchcraft, a lot of voodoo, a lot of. I'll tell you right now, vampires live in New Orleans. Vampires are real. Werewolves are real. Vampires are definitely real. They reside in New Orleans. Witches are real. They reside in New Orleans. New Orleans is like a spiritual ley line land hub. Okay, it is a hub for spirituality. Trying to think of any more. Trying to think of any more spiritual ley lines. Spiritual ley lines. Trying to think of any more spiritual ley lines. Spiritual ley lines. Spiritual ley lines. If I think of any more, I'll make another video. I'll talk more in depth about it. But I'm trying to, off the top of my head, I think. In other countries, I went over Jamaica and Haiti. Um, Cuba, Cuba, Cuba has a couple spiritual ley lines. That's why they kind of stuck back in the past. Cuba is stuck in the past for a reason. Okay, it's not just they just happen to be no. Cuba has definitely has some spiritual ley lines going on. Think of spiritual ley lines as places where you're able to harness the people's energy and you're able to basically thin the veil, so to speak. I'm trying to think of is there any more spiritual ley lines? Spiritual ley lines. If I think of any more, I'll talk to you more in depth about it, guys. Off the top of my head, I'm trying to think of other countries. I gotta do my research. But Area 51. Area 51 is a spiritual ley line. If you try to remote view Area 51, you'll get blocked. You cannot remotely view Area 51. You can't astral, none of that. You can't do that on Area 51. People who astral are able to astrally, what's the word I'm looking for? Go places where they're not supposed to go. If you try to do that to Area 51, you will get blocked. There is something blocking Area 51. You can't go there physically, you can't go there spiritually, okay? That is a spiritual ley line. A lot of crazy stuff happens at Area 51. Trying to think. What else? Spiritual ley lines. Spiritual. New York. New York is definitely a spiritual ley line. Lake Lanier is a spiritual ley line. We know the history of that. Tulsa, Oklahoma is a spiritual ley line. New York. And if you're in these places, shout out. Did I forget? Shout out Chicago. Shout out Detroit, Chicago. That is, let me tell you, that's a spiritual ley line. That is a spiritual ley line. Them niggas be killing each other left and right. That is a spiritual ley line. What else? Spiritual ley line. Spiritual ley line. I'll think of any more. Like I said, if I think of any more, guys, I'll get back to you and I'll make another video talking about it. I'll definitely do more research and get more places. But those are just a couple off the top of my head where the veil thins. And so at the intersection of these ley lines, you have light portals where you're able to cross. The pyramids, the pyramids lie on spiritual ley lines. That's why they're placed so strategically. Um, yeah, if you cross the intersection of some of these spiritual ley lines, you'll be able to Alaska. Alaska is a spiritual ley line. That's why they have the aurora fields. Those things in the sky that show the pretty colors, that is a spiritual ley line. That's a major spiritual ley line. Antarctica. Antarctica is a major spiritual ley line. That's why you're not allowed to go there. Okay, government officials have banned everyone from going to Antarctica. Let me tell you, they got stuff going on at Antarctica, all right? They got things going on at Antarctica they do not want you talking about. That is a major spiritual ley line, Antarctica. I'm trying to think what else. I'm trying to think of other ones. Spiritual ley lines, spiritual ley lines, spiritual ley lines. Y'all, if I think of any more, I'll let y'all know. It's nice talking to y'all. I plan to do more little short educational videos like this and let y'all know what's going on. Florida has a lot of spiritual ley lines. Being a Florida native myself, there's a lot of places here where you just cross certain railroads, you cross certain tracks. It's like wealth and poor. Um, I do believe West Palm Beach is a spiritual ley line. I do believe that that's a place if you want to make some money. No, let that go. Maybe not. But what else? What else? What else? Other spiritual ley lines. Spiritual ley lines. Spiritual ley lines. The Pentagon, Washington, D.C. is a spiritual ley line. Spiritual ley line. That's why the government chose so strategically to place all government affairs there. Well, majority of government affairs as a spiritual ley line. Spiritual ley lines. Off the top of my head, guys, that's all I got for now. But the main reason I want to give a shout out to the Native Americans, they have been silenced to no end. Literally, their people have been just the Native Americans were placed here to raise the vibrations of the planet for everybody. They were sent here to teach everybody how to interact with nature. And they were basically, white people knew what they was doing. They knew they didn't come in peace. They came to kill them. because they knew what was up. Native Americans were sent here to raise the vibrations of the entire planet. And because of that, white folks decided to kill the majority of them, genocide, and place them on reservations so that they can never really rise to their potential, so to speak. And they'll have an affinity for drinking and gambling. If you notice, a lot of Native Americans have problems drinking. That is not by coincidence. Um, Spiritual ley lines. Yeah, that's all I got for now, guys. If I think of any more, I'm definitely gonna have a roundtable discussion on more spiritual ley lines. There's a lot more that I definitely not thinking of. I do believe the Wall of China could be. I think likely is a spiritual ley line. I think that's and you can go there, but you can't really go there. There's certain things that you can't see in China. I do believe that the Great Wall of China is right on top of a spiritual ley line. Um, Egypt, the pyramids. Like I said, the pyramids have been placed strategically along spiritual ley lines to harness the energy of the earth. In addition to that, Africa. Africa has a lot of spiritual ley lines. Africa, Africa being the biggest continent, I would say Africa might have the most spiritual ley lines. Africa is a very spiritual place. Shout out to Africa. I haven't seen it, never been there. I'd love to go see my family. Um, but Africa has a ton of spiritual ley lines. That's why you go to Africa, someplace in Africa, you just see diamonds on the ground, baby. Oil just coming up from the ground. It's a very resourceful place. That's not by coincidence. Africa has a lot of spiritual ley lines. Um, that's all I got for now. If I think of any, I'll let y'all know, but that's it. So I definitely want to add more to this discussion. If y'all got anything to say in the comments, if y'all got any, feedback on what I'm saying, I do have a special surprise coming for y'all. Do have a special surprise. I want to say anything about it now. I don't want to say anything about it now. I want to just keep that locked and loaded so that when I just pop it out, and y'all just be like, damn, who this? New phone, who this? Okay. So y'all have a great day. Again, I'm proud of my fire signs. I'm proud of my Saggies. Saggy Gang, we in this thing. I love y'all. I'm proud to be a part of y'all. Leo, shout out to my Leos. Shout out to my Aries. They be keeping the meanest of faces. My mom and my dad are Aries. Aries be having the meanest of face cards. Boy, there's some selfish motherfuckers though. Aries be having some mean face cards. You understand me? Aries, Aries are pretty. Aries be having some mean face cards. I mean mean face cards. You can't touch their face cards. I know I'm forgetting one, but it is what it is. No, maybe not. No, I think that's it. Aries, Leo said, Fire Gang, we in this thing, babe.